Good morning, good morning, everyone, and welcome to day 79. Day 79, you guys, of Daily Motivations for African American Success. I think Brandon will be joining us this morning, but gotta rock on, I gotta rock on, I gotta rock on, I gotta start the barbecue on time, in time, and we gotta do what it do because it is what it is, right? So, let's get going here. Day 79, I'm going to go ahead and bring on uh, our topic for today. It is not mine, so let me get that on in there. So I do see Brandon. Let me pull him in. Morning, Brandon.
Good morning.
How's it going?
Going good. How you doing, sweetie?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I just kind of welcomed them in and told them that I thought you would be on. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to you. How are things going?
Things are going really well. It's of course a beautiful sleepy morning. I'm up
hmm
and wide awake though. It's
Are we
just we
good
have
there
that.
on your Instagram? Did you go live there?
Yep, we
We
are.
all good?
Yep, good. Yeah, everything's good here. Just trying to get my lighting right, but everything looks good to me.
All right, all right.
Yep.
How is the
But
weather
it's
in
good. It's a
Cordova?
little cloudy and windy. It's a little cloudy and windy right
Mm,
now, but
okay.
it's good. It's a beautiful day. I'm glad I got my
Yes,
lawn
it
mowed
is.
up, so it's gonna rain
Yeah,
today.
yeah,
But welcome
yeah,
everybody. I guess you already welcomed everybody to the show for day 79. I didn't
yeah.
get to check on you though. How are you, Mom?
Can't call it, might spoil it. Like conversation over there, Trent Williams says, can't call it, might spoil it. So I ain't gonna
I'm gonna have
call
to,
it.
I'm gonna have to get that one from Trent.
Huh?
I said I'm gonna have to get that from Trent. I like that
Get
one.
that like that. Can't call it, might spoil it. Sometimes
Yeah,
we
yeah, I'm
do.
gonna
We
have to
try to
use that.
call things that don't even need to be called. It is what it is. What let it do what it do. But
Just
don't
don't
let
let it
it
do
do
it.
you.
Hey,
And it is people and things. Good morning, Brenda Davis. Good morning to our YouTube listeners. We're going to do some work over there, make sure that we can start interacting with you guys. I think I found out what that problem is, and I think I can fix it. So, and if I can't, I'll get somebody to do it so that we can start interacting with you guys who are watching over there as well. So, Brother
and on
Mike
Instagram.
says, good morning. Right. Yeah, yeah, you'll have to kind of help me with that part. But yeah, I'll be setting up the or Brandon will. Y'all heard that, right?
Yep,
The
yep,
end of
yep.
season podcast on Instagram as well, so that we can catch some people over there. I'm excited. I was counting the days last night. I'm excited about the 100th day. I'll mark the calendar.
Mm.
All right, mark the calendar. We're gonna
We might
break
have to
this
do
day
something
down.
special for that.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Well, on my
all right.
side, shout out to AD like Sunny, and just Peak who just popped in. So thank y'all for Instagram Live, for all y'all coming in on Instagram Live, and we should have some more people coming in soon. So make sure you share, like, and subscribe to this on YouTube. Share the link on Instagram and Facebook Live, and get more people to join this good message. All right.
Brandon,
Uh-huh.
before and I don't, I was gonna say I hope this is okay, but it is because this is great news. Guess who's taking the profile, the life language profile today? I'm gonna
Who's that?
call him up. Just take a wild guess. Who? Just let it simmer. He probably laughing up a
Mm,
storm, like, oh man, I can't believe Tammy called me
oh,
out like
Mike and Tisha.
that. Well, Tisha took it a long time
Yeah,
ago.
that Tisha took it. Mike.
Mike.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it. Good job, Unc. That's
Especially when I
good, man.
said, I can't believe he's laughing. I can't
Yeah,
believe
when you
Tammy
said
called
it
me out
like
like
that.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, when you said that, I knew what
Like,
it was.
teacher, man, I can't believe Tammy called me out like that.
Yeah, you can already hear him. But nah,
Called you
congratulations,
out,
Unc, for
bro.
taking that step, man. That's a good
Called
look,
you
Unc.
out. Called you out. I'm trying to help him with my eyes. It ain't working. Read here.
You don't need him. I'm the one reading today, so you all good. But I tell you what, let's jump into it while you
Come
get
on,
your
let's
get
do
your
it.
eyes straight. All right. Well, daily motivations. If you guys have not been with us for a while, I know, and for the people who have been for a while, y'all just be patient while we go through some clerical stuff, just to make sure that any of the new people that are tuning in understand exactly what we're doing here. So in February, we started reading Dennis Kimbro's Daily Motivations for African American Success in celebration and acknowledgement of Black History Month. But of course, we're not limited to just 1 month. Our history expands and has impacted the entire world and the global culture. So looking back, this book we didn't want to just relegate to 1 month. So Daily Motivations for Success for African American Success will help you focus on the thoughts, attitudes, and deeds that will lead to the achievement of your true goals, and 365 short, powerful motivations, one for each day of the year. Dennis Kimbro leads us to discover how to use the present moment and our own gifts to transcend labels, cultivate a positive attitude, become wise enough to know when to say yes and when to say no, and to look inward for answers to life's challenges. Each motivation begins with words of wisdom from such distinguished and celebrated African Americans as Malcolm X, Marion Wright Elderman, Whoopi Goldberg, Charlene Hunter Galt, Bill Cosby, Carl Rowan, Mother Hale, Reverend Leon Sullivan, and hundreds of others. This treasure trove of practical inspiration will give you fresh encouragement every day of the year. What it teaches will last you a lifetime. So that's pretty much the gist of the book. And from a
Just kicked himself off.
everything okay?
Yeah. I thought you made a mistake and hit it or something.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Okay. Just want to make sure, those cloudy days be tripping for us
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
But y'all can see me good.
Yeah.
Check everything clear. Okay,
All's
cool.
good.
Well, without further ado, I think I'm gonna jump right into it. Okay, thank you. All right, cool. All right, so today on April the 19th, the title is Pick the Tough Ones. And our quote of the day from our distinguished African American from history is from the 60 Minutes co-host, Ed Bradley, who said, "Go after the tough ones. You've got to be willing to stick your nose out in places people may not want you to be. You have to have great curiosity. Go after the tough ones. You've got to be willing to stick your nose in places people may not want you to be. You have to have great curiosity." We'll jump right into it. And the passage says, "Do some serious daydreaming and set your sights high." A professor of psychology gave a test to his class with 3 categories of questions. He instructed the students to answer questions from any section on the test. The first category was the hardest, and consequently was worth 50 points. The second was not as difficult, was worth 40 points. The third, the easiest, was worth 10 points. Mom, your light's on your phone or something like that. I don't know what that is.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry. No, my reading light.
Oh, okay. You shining it at us. You reading us, ain't it?
No, I think it's just the back end of it. Is that
Oh,
better?
okay. Yeah, it's a little better. It's a little better.
Okay.
I think I was like, what is that? When the papers were returned, the students who had chosen the hardest questions, the 50 pointers, were given A's, even if they'd gotten the answers wrong. The students who had chosen the 40 pointers received B's, and those who attempted to answer the 10-point questions, the easiest ones, were given C's. The students didn't understand the test results, so they asked the professor how he had graded the exam. The professor leaned back, smiled, and explained, "I wasn't testing your knowledge. I was testing your aim." When manufacturers first produced golf balls, they made the cover smooth. Then they discovered that the ball would travel farther if it was made rough. Soon, sporting goods companies began producing golf balls with dimpled covers. So it is with life. It takes some rough spots in your life to make you go the farthest. It takes that same amount of effort to fail as it does to succeed. So avoid the path of least resistance and pick the tough ones. So the affirmation for today that we read 3 times, 1 time for me, 1 time for you, and 1 time for the person or people that you're going to send this to, is I will choose the hard road in order to better myself. I will choose the hard road in order to better myself. And last time, I will choose the hard road in order to better myself. All right, butterfly, what you got? What's that transformation
Does
brewing up
does
in your heart?
does this make you think of a conversation we had yesterday after the show? I asked you a question.
Remind me, remind me.
Too young for this. You're too
No, no,
young.
I'm just trying to get all this stuff. I got
You say
lights
remind
everywhere. So
you.
yeah, remind me, please.
So I asked you, I said, Brandon, why um our neighbors have chickens and they bring us eggs
Oh, ha,
once a
that's
week.
funny. That's funny.
So she bought over some eggs. And this particular time she had washed them. She said, so these have been washed. So put them in the fridge. They have to be in the fridge. And I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. So finally, I asked Brandon yesterday, and I kind of thought I knew, but I always like to ask Mr. Google so that I can get Google perspective of it. And so he's not listening to me, you
I'm
guys.
listening to you. I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you.
So I asked him just because I wanted to hear, his perspective, his answer. And so this reminds me of that because we talked about how when kids are born, tell them, Brandon, what the answer was for you. Sorry.
Well, I likened it to when children are born. There's this stuff called vernix caseosa, or something like that. It's the white film that comes
Mhm.
on babies when they're born, and this white film is basically the beginnings of that child's immune system. It's sticky. It's unfortunately doctors wipe this stuff off of babies as soon as they come out of the womb, but that's actually not the best thing to do. I mean, it's the best thing for their pockets. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the best thing for the actual child and the mother, because this sticky white film like substance actually is sticking and grabbing onto different microbes, even viruses, bacteria, and life forms that are in the area. So what it does is it tells the child's immune system what is normal, what's its baseline, right? So it's actually grabbing things to form its immune system to build up kind of a like a child learns language and builds up vocabulary. It's learning and getting to know what organisms and life forms that we can't see are around us, so that it can best adapt to its environment. So it wants to say, okay, if I'm born in the jungle, then there's this type of bacteria out there, so I'm going to create defenses and a baseline to for that. Or if I'm born in, I don't know, a more arid place, there's different types of microbes and biology there. So my immune system has to be somewhat different. But in many cases, when children are born in the home, or not in homes like mine, but when they're born in the hospitals, those children are wiped of that film. And you have, ever since they started doing that, you have children with more immune deficiencies, with more allergies, things of that nature. So that's what that film was for, where it seems like dirty, but when you actually have children in sterile environments, you're actually negatively impacting their
Right.
immune systems. And likewise, is the same thing for eggs. Just like when a mother produces a child, there's a film on top of it. Similarly, when a chicken lays an egg, there's an anti uh, biotic that's on top of it, or a type of there's a film that's on top of it, a coating that's on top of it that preserves its freshness, right?
Yeah. Because otherwise, the eggs can stay out, for as long, like forever almost. Like we eat them up, but they can stay out if the dirt, if the poop and all that is still on it. So it made me just think about this. I know the title, picking the tough ones, but as we get into it, um, the roughness of the golf balls and things like that. We talked yesterday, spiritual exercise, makes you more equipped, stronger to deal with life, to pick the tough ones, to deal with the tough ones. So I instantly thought about the egg, and leaving it once it's washed, you got to put it in the fridge, right? To preserve
Yeah,
it. But if you keep it on there, it can stay out, it can endure the
but it
weather.
looks dirty, right? Or it looks
It
like
looks
it might be,
dirty, right? It makes you not want to even eat it and touch it, not even to wash it. So
right? So we
that
wash
that
our,
just
our chicken's eggs right before. we cook them.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
And
so
that's
that's
what we
interesting.
would do, but she just all of a sudden started washing them for us as she brings them as well, which is a blessing. But I love the fact that they can stay out, that I don't have to put them in the fridge. I've always loved that. Um, I don't know why. I don't know why. It just says something about nature and about God, his perfection, right?
Mm,
And what it
mm-hmm.
teaches us. So, Brandon, for this one, so go after the tough ones. I equate that to life, meaning that, like for today, whatever we're going through, because oftentimes it's difficult to pick the toughest one. And he says, I'm not thinking about your knowledge right now. What's your aim? So imagine being this one of the students in this class where the teacher comes in and say that. And let's kind of separate the students. Say there's a few that have studied, studied, and they are prepared, right? Because they have a goal. And this one also starts out, do some serious daydreaming, right? And we had one a few days ago, you must be dreaming, right? But daydreaming is more about being awake, right? So do some serious daydreaming and set your sights high, high. So the ones who answered the questions just 10 points, hey, I just want to get by. I'm not prepared. But ones who studied, they're prepared. Their aim is not just to have knowledge, right? Not just have knowledge, but know how to have the wisdom that will ignite the knowledge. Because, I don't want just a C, D. I don't want a 69 or a 70. I don't know what the scale is now. I'm aiming for the best, for the highest. And sometimes you guys, most times for us in our lives, I think Mr. Nick said yesterday, Tony's dad, right? Nikki,
Yeah,
Tony, do I have that
yeah.
right?
It's
That we
Tony.
have to put in
Tony's the dad.
Tony's dad. Now I got it mixed up today. We're gonna get
That's
this
my
thing
fault.
right. So Tony is the dad about putting in the effort. Once you put the effort in, you don't want the easy questions. You want to deal with the things, or if you're putting the effort in, you're dealing with those tough things, you guys. And so
Right.
once we start to deal with the toughest thing today, if you decided these are the things that I have going on in my life that have me stuck in a place, as we talked about yesterday, these are the things. But the one that I need to deal with first is this, and why, and deal with that one. That is the most difficult questions that will get you 50 points ahead. So
Mm.
there's a lot in this to unpack. The daydreaming versus you must be dreaming. And then I think about the Bible verse, count it all joy. Count it all joy when you are going through something. Put it in my words, right? Because I'm growing you, I'm pruning you, right? I'm perfecting you. And we just don't want to go through things, y'all. We just think we're not supposed to go through things. Like I mentioned about the tire. We'll have a flat tire and oh, it's the devil. Whoa, it's me. And
Yeah,
as I
yeah.
mentioned yesterday, tires go flat. They don't last forever. Nothing does, not even us, not the people that we love. So we might as well eliminate, do the hard things first. Do the hard things, have a desire. He says, and so curiosity, in the quote, it says, you have to have great curiosity. Curiosity is just strong desire to know or to learn something. Strong desire. We keep hearing that word, desire. Yesterday it was burning desire is what he had, so that the people in the village would not perish. He had a burning desire. So I'll turn it over to you. Good morning, Tracy Salters family. Thank you, Nikki, also family, checking in with us. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll get back to your comments in just a minute. Over to you, Brandon.
Thank you for your insights on that. The title, "Pick the Tough Ones." I didn't know exactly what to expect. I thought it was. I guess it's kind of about this, but picking the tough ones in the litter, right? Like say if you got a litter of puppies or kittens, most people want the strong ones, but there's few that pick the runts. But most people, when they come to get a new pet or anything, they pick the best one. Or if they're coming to pick fruit, they pick the strongest looking one. So I noticed that the professor was a professor of psychology,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I found that interesting that the professor had given a test and to his class with three categories of questions. And he told them to answer any section from the test. They could answer section A for their test, section B, section C. And A was the hardest, B was, the mid-level, and C was the least hard. And he said, y'all can answer either one of these three sections and he'd grade that. And so I found it interesting that the people who tried the part A got A's because those were the hardest questions. People who tried part B got B's because that was the second hardest, so on and so forth to the C. And he said, I wasn't testing your knowledge. I was testing your aim. I was testing your aim. So they say, and this isn't factually correct, but we understand what it means to shoot for the stars, right? And you land, or shoot for the moon and you land amongst the stars. Have you heard that expression before, Mo? So shooting for, in reality though, like just for clarification, the moon is a lot closer than the stars. The stars are little suns. They're suns bigger than our suns, many of them much further away. But it seems as if sometimes the moon is this big thing. So if you shoot for the moon, you'll land amongst the stars. But it means shoot as far as you can, dream as big as you can, make your goals as grand as you can. Um, because if you aim high, then you'll at least land further than if you would have aimed low, right? And it also interested me, loving physics, that the first golf balls that were produced were smooth, and then they figured out that those weren't the prettiest ones, weren't the ones that went the furthest, weren't the ones that cut through the wind, but rather it was the ones with all these little craters on there, which also reminds me of the moon. So it takes the same amount of effort to fail as it does to succeed, right? A lot of times we'll sit there and be like, I don't feel like it. It takes too much energy. I know that I said I was going to do this today. I know that I said I was going to have this meeting. I know I said I was going to write a page on my book. I know I said I was going to do dot, dot, dot. If we take this to heart, that it takes the same amount of energy to fail as it does to succeed, then that means our energy is absolute value. Negative or positive, we still are going to spend the same amount of energy. We're either going to spend it in the direction of our goals, or we're going to spend it in the direction of our self-sulking, against our goals. And what does that look like? Against our goals looks like self-sulking, looks like complaining, looks like procrastination, and doing all these other things. And you might do 10 other little things in procrastination from the one big thing you really wanted to do. And those 10 things of the energy that it required to do those 10 things added up to the one thing you could have did for your actual goal, right? So, but separates what separates the people who go after their goals and people who don't? It's the tough ones, the people who pick the hardest route. So in life, we there's a principle that says, like, people say energy go where there's the least resistance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like naturally, pressure will go to where there's the least resistance. Water will go where there's the least resistance. But that's normally downhill, right? That's not climbing up to a goal. That's not reaching new heights. That's usually going down or descending. And I think likewise, we could see that in life. So if you go after these very easy things to do, how can you not expect to be mediocre by your own standards, right? Not by anybody else's standards, but by your own standards. And I just don't think that we, as a people, or in the state of the world, morally, as far as its values, economically, environmentally, are in a place and position where we can afford mediocrity. We're just not. You have one
Right.
life to live. One life. You don't get no redos to this. This isn't a game. You can't reset. You can't blow the game and get another life. Um, so why not aim for your true goals? And most human beings are ambitious at some level, right? And I remember you used to tell me something as a kid, Mom. You said if you settle for less than you deserve, you will get less than what you settled for. I think I was in like seventh or eighth grade. And
Yeah.
you told me that. You said if you settle for less than you deserve, in the end, you'll get less than what you settled for. So don't settle. And I think people are, in many cases, we have been programmed, whether it be through school, media, to settle for whatever we can get, right? To settle for microwave food instead of that full of going to the grocery store and getting some food and cooking good food. To settle for a school system that doesn't appropriately educate and teach our children. We settle for substandard and subpar living areas, neighborhoods, communities, what we expect from each other and ourselves, right? So aiming high or picking the hard route isn't just about some lofty goal, right? Like that's the pretty side of this coin, right? But
Brandon,
the dirt. Let me,
can
if
I
you don't
say
mind,
something?
finish it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm gonna
Don't let me
finish.
forget
I'm gonna,
this. Don't let
okay,
me
I won't.
forget grading
Okay,
scale. Just remind me grading scale.
grading scale. Um, but the good side of the coin or the washed egg, right, is your goals that you reach out for, right? That's the beautiful side of the washed side of that egg, right? It don't last long unless you back
Mhm.
that up with the foundation of the dirty side of the egg, which is going to those people that you have issues with in your family, right? And having those tough conversations. That's a tough route. That's a route of healing, right? And you don't heal what you don't reveal. So I'm talking about our relationships. I'm talking about what we do with our lives, our goals and dreams, our aspirations, what books we read. There used to be kids that remember that AR reading we used to have as a kid, Mom? I used to have as a kid, where you would
Yes.
go pick certain books and books would be worth different points. It was a meritocracy, it was a merit based system where if you read the harder books on AR reader, the thicker books, even with the higher level of reading, you got more points. Even if it was sometimes the same amount of pages, if it was just a higher reading level, you got more points. And you would always see the kids that would just want to read the little short books and then they go and take the test. But by the time you read that little short book and go take the test, and then go read another short book, then take the test, I could have just read one book. And while you done took three different tests, I take one test and I got more points because
Mm.
I chose the harder route. So I think in this situation, the teacher did a very interesting assessment where he graded their aim. And if their aim was high, he gave them high grades, whether they got the questions correct or not. And I think a lot of that happens in life. Um, who really goes for it? When you punch for MMA, if you punch and you just hit right here, there's nothing really there, right? But if you punch through it, that means you're aiming for the back of their head, even though you're hitting the front of their face. And not to get too violent here, but those are the hardest punches when you punch through your opponent. So whatever your op is, right? Whatever your goal is, whatever you need to heal in your life, whatever you need to address in your life, go through it. You say, I'm going through something. Okay, cool. Go through it then. If you're going through something, go through it, address it, confront it, because any fear that you run away from gets bigger as it chases you. Okay, always remember that. If you don't address your problems, they get bigger until you address them. So, Mom, I'm gonna turn it back over to you because I just remembered that you said grading scale. What you got for us on
Right. So
the grade?
I thought about our new grading scale, and I don't know how new it is now, but I just remember hearing that, Shelby County Schools here, and I don't, check there for your area, changed our grading scale. And I was thinking about what that does to
Mm,
our young people as it teaches them about learning and aiming, right? It used to be, and Brandon, you were talking about the AR reading program. They still have that in some form. I'm not sure exactly how it works now, But now here in Shelby County, an F is below 60. That's the new scale, below
Oh wow, it
60.
used to be below 70, didn't it?
It used to be below 70. A
Mm.
D is 60 to 69. And I remember when I heard about this, and I don't know, Brandon, I think it changed after you, because I think I
Yeah.
remember saying to someone, Brandon couldn't have bought that new scale home to me, because I feel like that we all are average people, right? If you just want to look at it that way, you can read more, you can study more, you can aim higher. So yeah, this changed. So below 60 is an F. So if for a student who says, I just want to pass, that's what you're going to be doing in life. You just going, I'm just passing. I'm not living. I'm just existing. I'm mediocre. And then I say, from the average, none of us are average, because we were created for purpose.
Mm.
And your seed, your talent that was given to you, your one talent or your five talents, right, is the same. Is the same if you would but nurture it, if you would aim. So if you did an assessment today on your aim, on your knowledge versus your aim, what's the difference to you? What's the difference? What's the difference for you? Do you have knowledge of something? Is God giving you a seed? He's planted a seed before you, but you don't aim for it. You walk right past it. You go pray like the man did yesterday in our story. You come back, you sit on a riverbank, and you wait. Not like the man did yesterday. He came back and he was um, motivated,
Mm.
strong desire, and the ability to think, because that's what prayer does. It prepares you. And the things, the rough things in your life, the tough things in your life, they help you go so that you can grow through what you are going through. And then that glorifies the kingdom of God. So our purpose, we keep looking for these big things as it relates to, oh, what is my purpose? What if you just stop right there and put a period behind it? To water my seed, to pick the tough one,
Mm.
and have the motivation, the curiosity, which is the desire, and then the thought process, the wisdom to know when to say yes and when to say no.
Mm.
So what's your aim? Maybe that's the question that we'll leave you guys with today. What's your aim? What's knowledge versus aim to you and in your life? In your life. Because so much of the world, so many things are working to dumb us down. It's taking the ability from us to think, to think. And when you lose that, guess what? Somebody's thinking for you. It's like one of our readings said, there's no free lunch. Somebody paid for it. So if you're not thinking, somebody's thinking for you all the time, all the time. And if you're not aiming or picking the tough ones, someone else is. I thought it was interesting, Brandon. It says, you've got to be willing to stick your nose in places people may not want you to be. So why would people not want you to pick the tough ones? Because if you do, they have to show up.
Mm.
Healing people help people heal. Hurting people hurt people. So if I'm picking the tough ones and you and I, we thrive, we jive together, we do it. And I'm picking the tough ones, and then you're okay with getting the 10 points. Sooner or later, that's going to cause a reaction between or in the relationship. That's why when people start to transform, be renewed, their friends, the friends that they thought were ride or die, most of them fall to the wayside. Why? Because they don't want to show up. You showing up shows them that they're not.
Yeah.
and in their own way, not meaning your way. Just show up to your true goals, as the book tells us. Acknowledge your true goals. So when we do that, when we're in this tough, picking, the rough picking, that's a place where others don't want us to be because they've not learned how to be. They are not aiming. They may have the knowledge, but that's not their aim. That's not their aim. They're more of in this world, right? You've heard the saying, I'm not in this world, of it. I'm just not. This is not my home. This is a temporary place for me. But while I'm here, I'm going to water my seed. I'm going to make sure that I make use of my talents so that I'm blessed and the people in my life, the world, receives that blessing as well, because your seed was not given just for you. It is to better this world and people. So people don't want you to pick the tough ones. They don't want you to. Not all of them, for sure. Not all of them.
Right.
And it's our responsibility to make sure we get around the ones who are okay with us being in that business, who wants to receive that, who feels like you feed me, I feed you. Iron
Exactly.
sharpens iron, right?
Yeah.
So over to you, Brandon.
This, when you started bringing friends into it, and associates, um, I have a really, I'll say it like this. I have great friends. I have best friends even. I have people that I've known for years that are my brothers. Like I would do anything for these people. Some of them, right? And some of those people I don't talk to every day or every month even, right? But they know if they call me up, we're good, right? There's an establishment of trust. There's an establishment of things going on. And I'm mainly talking about, well, before I get into that, there are certain people that fall to the wayside in different ways, right?
Mm.
So just because a lot of times I feel like we're attached to people, and we're attached to parts of this world, things, places. I remember when I was talking about going to college, I had friends that were like, "Why don't you just go to University of Memphis?" There's nothing wrong with University of Memphis, right? It's a great school, but they'd be like, "Why don't you just stay in Memphis with us?" And mom, I don't know if you remember, but like my first year in college, I had to come back to like a number of different funerals
Mm-hmm.
because of just crazy situations that were going on, whether it be shootings or accidents or fights that got just whatever it was. And I remember thinking, man, I think I made the right decision to leave for a little bit and then to come back. But I'm in Memphis, so like there's nothing wrong with loving the place that you're from. But I knew that in order for me to expand my horizons, I needed something different. Likewise, mom, you mentioned that people don't really like they're not going to appreciate you putting your nose in certain spaces and places because it forces them to elevate themselves, or it's a reflection of your growth and their stagnation. And
Right.
sometimes when you have a group of friends, let's say you got five friends, we may be growing, but or some of us may be growing and others aren't. So are we growing together or are we growing apart? And so that's what I mean about two different types of friends. You got friends that where they're growing and you're growing. You guys are just not growing in the same direction. Your goals aren't aligned. Where you're going in life isn't aligned. And so for those friends, they're at least still growing, right? But their aim is still high, but in a different place and location than yours might be. So those are the friends where I can hit them up and be like, bro, how you doing? You good? How's everything going in life? Family good? Man, we're gonna have to link up soon. Okay, what you got going this weekend or something like that, or 2 weeks from now, and maybe we can link up, and maybe we can't. No love lost or gained, whether we can do it or not. But I have stuff to do, and he has stuff to do, and I respect that, and he respects that. And there are other friends that you're growing, and they're not growing at all. You want to grow and do this and start a business, or you want to go and read a book, or you want to go travel to learn something new about a culture, anything. It could be anything, something outside of your comfort zone. And they're like, why are you doing that? That's not, who do you think you are? You gonna go learn a new language for what? You going to school on for fun? You just going to get another degree just to do it? Man, let's go get this money. And then it's like at the same time, they're not putting their best foot forward to do their own goals. And so what you could do is say, well, since I'm attached to this person, I'm just gonna kick back on the porch and kick it with you, because we ride or die, right? Nah, bro, like, nah, like I'm gonna ride with you, but if your ride or die is suicide, if what you doing ain't really feeding you and giving you life, then what kind of fool I look like sitting there dying with you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Your head don't look right on my shoulders. So I'm gonna think for myself. And if my aim is beyond your perception, then look, I'm going places you just can't go, homie. I'm going places where I can't bring everybody along. And neither can I lag myself behind by trying to pull everybody with me. Right? Now, some people will look at you and say, oh, he's changed, he's different, or this, that. Yeah, you think I worked this hard to stay the same? You know what I mean? So that's the aim. And if you're not able to grow with me, then I respect your path, bro. And you go ahead and do your thing. And I'll meet. And if we intersect again, it's all love. It's no love lost. But I will not down regulate myself. I will not give up my values or be somebody else who I'm not, or not aim high, or not be ambitious, not try to develop my character, not try to learn something new, not try to live a life worth living, in my opinion. I'm not going to give all of that up just to stay friends with you, or just to stay comfortable with you, or just to stay complacent in the same status quo that we've been experiencing. Because if it worked, if it was good, then we wouldn't be in this situation. We wouldn't have the inspiration to grow. We wouldn't see things around in our community that we want to change. We wouldn't see a world operating off of very lowly things and shallow things, and we see the corruption that's spreading as a product of that, and we just do nothing. You know what I mean? Like, that's not my style. If I see an injustice, I stop it with my hand. If I can't stop it with my hand and I don't have the proximity to grab a hold of it and stop it myself, then I at least speak out against it, right? And like, we've gone through this, and if I can't speak out against it, I at least hate it in my heart. But I know that hating in my heart is the lowest form of faith, the lowest form of belief, the lowest form of being a maintainer of justice. So if you're not on that same trend,
Easiest.
right, then if you're right. If you're not on the same trend as me, if you're taking the easy route out, which is just complacency, which is just apathy, which is just, this I don't care, it doesn't affect me mentality, then I can't rock with you.
Right.
I can respect you, but I can't rock with you. So are you aiming high? And who even deserves to be around you in that situation? Who do they deserve it? Have they earned that right? Because there are people that you should have left out a long time ago. But here you go, calling them back up because you got this neurocircuitry that says that I need validation from somebody else. Because if you
That's
cared
the word,
about,
validation.
right, if you cared,
Validation.
do you care about your goals or what people think of you? Right? Because it says go after the tough ones. You've got to be willing to stick your nose in places people may not want you to be. You have to have great curiosity. And if you're not curious about your own human potential, then you're wasting flesh. You're wasting time because you got one life. And when your time is over, when you're on your last few breaths, if you have the ability to have wherewithal, you don't want to have your last breath be one of regret. You want it to be one of don't want it to be of regret or remorse. You want it to be one of ease. You want it to be one of, I did this. I enjoyed my life. It was fulfilling. I went after it. Even if you didn't obtain everything you wanted in life, all you can do is all you can do. And if you tried your best, if you tried your absolute best, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. But if you didn't, and if you pushed the wrong people to the side that were really there for you, and you kept all these energy vultures and pariahs around you, the people that stuck you in your mess, that fulfilled your temporary desires but didn't didn't really invest in your future and those high lofty goals that you really had inside of you, or didn't motivate you and encourage you and challenge you to be better, I think your last breath will be one of regret. So let's do our best to go out there today, pick the tough routes, because that's iron sharpens iron, right? So don't put iron next to wood and expect to become sharper. All right, so that's all I got for you.
So, okay, Brandon, and I'll get ready to end here. This is a memory that popped up that I shared 3 days ago, and you made me think about it. You either quit or keep going. They both hurt. You either quit or you keep going. They both
Mm,
hurt, right?
mm,
So if they both hurt, then why not pick the toughest one, the one that's going to get you the farthest, right? The most out of life. Why not pick that? And that is, you have to train your mind. You have to become unlearn. You have to unlearn, untangle all that has tangled you up and have you stuck in a place. And another one that I just feel is kind of off topic here, but I just saw this one last night, I believe. Okay, let me read this one and it'll be quick, you guys. Two girls can have the same drunk dad. And I hate that it's saying girls. I'm going to say two people can have the same drunk dad. One will grow up to be a drunk because their dad was, and the other will refuse to be because their dad was. Same parent, same environment, different choices. Y'all pushing 30 and 40. How long do you intend to use your childhood as an excuse for your poor behavior, poor treatment of others? At some point, operating in trauma is a choice,
mm,
and so is healing. That's it.
mm.
That's it.
Let's look at that. So right, that's like the same amount of energy that it takes to fail, it takes to succeed. So
It's
the
a
same
choice.
amount of energy for your parents, for example. I was just talking to a friend about this, about having resentment for your parents. And of course, there are varying levels, right? But there's a lot that we don't heal because we won't reveal it, right? Or we won't address it, right? So having resentment
Mm.
for your parents, for your upbringing, um, can be something that traps you, something that nooses you, that has a rope around your neck and keeps you limited to a certain area. And unless you heal that, you're going to pass that on to the next generation.
Mhm.
You know, imagine if even you or me, mom, like if I had issues with you, or if I had issues with Petey or Red or anything like that, right? Like I could easily have those grudges being within me, and my children grow up seeing those grudges and resentments,
Mhm.
right? And experiencing that emotionally. Maybe I have a conversation with one of my parents, and they hear that conversation, or the emotion that I have and the short temperedness that I might have after that, after getting off the phone. All these little small micro traumas add up to generational traumas that get passed on and passed on, right? It takes a lot of energy to have those arguments. It takes a lot of energy to hold that resentment. It takes a lot of energy to not go to that family function because you have social anxiety based on trauma that you guys have not dealt with, issues that are unresolved. So now you're not going to seeing the rest of your cousins. You're right, or you have some cousins over here that don't speak to cousins over there because their parents, who are brother and sister, don't talk or have issues, and they've heard the worst thing about auntie, or they've heard the worst thing about uncle so and so, right? So you're creating dysfunction within a family, within people who are related, right? But it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of emotional poison and depression and weighing down in heavy situations that accumulate to the same amount of effort it took to go and have one heartfelt, real conversation and to
Mm.
set a plan of reconciliation. There is no reconciliation without truth, right? And a lot of us don't want to face that truth. So maybe that's your lofty goal, guys. I'm really big on, especially with family, with confronting the issues that you have with someone else that's close to you, right? And dealing with that and not passing those on. For me, that's what I consider lofty goals. The lofty goal isn't let me go make $2-3 million, right? Like, yeah, that's fine. That can be seen as a successful in one vein. But when people become elder of age, and I'm speaking about people on their deathbed, when they say what their biggest regrets are, it was that they didn't spend more time with the relationships that they had, with the people that they
Mhm.
love, with investing in their relationships more than they did their 401k or their retirement account, right? Because none of that stuff you take with you, but you better believe that you take that love with you. You might not be able to take money, gold, riches, cars, and possessions, but you can take the love with you, and that love just transforms into a new way. But that money don't transform into a new way, a new mode. So go out there and create something great and keep your goals high, guys. And that's all I got for you before we run out of time.
Okay, yeah. So, Brandon, we'll let you close us out.
Okay.
Last word. We're obsessed about dating and marrying financially stable partners, forgetting to check mental, emotional, and spiritual stability, right?
Mm,
Forgetting to check mental, emotional, and spiritual stability. Y'all,
mm,
everything you're going through, whether it's the ability to pick the tough ones or not, is about who, Brandon? Is about
you.
you. Nobody else. Nobody else. You are responsible, right?
Mm.
Over to you, Brandon.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, thank y'all again for rocking with us on the 79th consecutive day of going through Dennis Kimbro's daily motivations for African American success. And again, like we have a couple people on right now over various platforms that are not African American. We appreciate y'all coming here. This is a story. This is our motivations told through our context, through our history, and using people from our culture. But you better believe that it's a human thing that you also can take advantage of. Just make sure if you come to the cookout, you bring something. Leave something in the comment section for us. Like it, subscribe. Let the algorithms know this is content that you like to hear and see, and spread the word. So we go through affirmations every day. We go through a title, a passage, a quote from a distinguished African American, and an affirmation that we read 3 times. One time for me, one time for you, and one time for the person or people that you're going to send this to. So today's title was Pick the Tough Ones. The passage we read was Pick the Tough Ones out of this book. And the quote that we got from Ed Bradley, the 60 Minutes co-host, was go after the tough ones. You've got to be willing to stick your nose in places people may not want you to be. You have to have great curiosity. And we got to touch on more on curiosity later on, because that's something I think we didn't put too much emphasis on, but I think is very heavy on the scale. And
Right. We
again,
said that it's just about strong desires to know and learn.
right,
A strong
right,
desire to know and learn.
right. There's
Strong
there's
desire
there's so much to that.
to unpack from
Um,
that. Yeah.
right. And so the affirmation again that we read 3 times is I will choose the hard road in order to better myself. Don't cut no corners. The easy route is easy route in is the easy route out. I promise you. As quick as you get there, you can leave there or be ousted from there. So I will choose for the second time. I will choose the hard road in
Right.
order to better myself. All right. Not the quick get rich quick scheme. Not taking the diet pill for a week, losing 100 pounds. You're gonna gain it right back, right? Like that's we know this. So the hard route is get your butt in the gym, right? The hard route is build that business and make sure you're giving value to your customers so that they sustain you and they keep coming back and they become those people that's always on your team, right? And last time, think about this. If you said it out loud, say it internally this time. If you said it internally, say it out loud. Speak it and manifest it. I will choose the hard road in order
In order
to better
to better
self.
myself.
All right. I
All
love you.
right.
Each and every person that's watching this. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Mom, do you have anything else before we go?
Just wanted to say good morning to Terry Dockery. It's been a long time. Good to see you. Hope everything is well. And then Kevin Lang is with us this morning. Hope you're having a great day as well. Thank you all for rocking with us this morning. Come back tomorrow, same time, same place for daily motivations for African American success. Measure your knowledge versus your aim today. Pick the tough ones. Pick just one tough one. How about that? Pick just one tough one and deal with it. Y'all be great.
All right, y'all. Take care. Peace.